the will of God, trying to know God. And the saddest thing that can happen is when people have heard about God, but they really don't know God. I can say that as a truth because in my life, we grew up into religion, we had a lot of religion, but we had no relationship. And when you have relationship, you can be in joy no matter when you have things and when you don't have it. You have a comforter to go to. I remember the day that Aurora was all blown up, looked like she got blown up with a tire. One of those things you blow up the tire with. She was all blown up. And she was in the hospital. And you know, if God hadn't been on her side, hadn't said, you know what, I'm not through with you, daughter. You're on this bed of affliction, and you're totally swollen up like the blimp, but I still have my hand on you. And I thank God that right now He's saying to each and every one of us, I've got my hand on you. Even the young people that don't understand. You know, a lot of us come from dysfunction, a lot of dysfunction. A lot of us come from broken homes. But you know, thank God that He'll take the broken things and repair it and make it better than it was when it came into brokenness. And I'm thanking God because He's working right now. Had it not been for God on your side, little man, little brother, you might not be here today. But God has a plan for your life. You know, a lot of times we don't understand. I know that, you know, when we go through things, even as young people, a lot of times we're angry. A lot of times we're depressed, we're unhappy. But thank God for those that are young that meet the Lord like Daniel. He was young, taken into a foreign country, but he knew God. Joseph in the Bible, he knew God. Even when the jealous brothers threw him in the pit and sold him into slavery, he knew God. So even as handsome as he was, and when that woman, Potiphar's wife, wanted to come and seduce him, he knew that no matter if nobody saw it, God would see it. So he had that heart and that mind and that awareness that we all need. When we're tempted to do something that's not pleasing in the sight of God, we can always have that awareness. But God sees me. And He's the one I'm going to stand before one day. You know, one day, the eastern skies are going to split. And He's going to come on a white horse, no longer as a babe in a manger, but in all of His glory. And He's saying to you and me today, I want you to know what real peace is. I want you to know what real joy is. It doesn't have, like, I think I heard somebody here say, it doesn't have with what you have or you don't have. But it's the blessing of having greatness. When we have Him, there's greatness inside of our lives. And He wants us to be healed, and He wants us to be whole. He doesn't want nothing as a ball and chain holding us to the past, holding us to unforgiveness, to resentment, to bitterness. He doesn't want those things for us because it's a cancer in our soul. But He wants us, and the devil laughs, and he wants us to be in all of those wounded bondages. But God is saying here today, I want you to be whole. I want you to be complete. I don't want you to eat that bitter fruit, because sometimes when we allow that kind of fruit to be developed in our lives, we will eat the fruit of those ways, and it's too bitter. But we want the sweetness of what comes from the living God. That sweetness that brings healing. And we're at a place right now where God's saying, I'm pouring out. He is got the breaker anointing, and Jesus is the breaker, because He wants to break some of those connections. He wants to break some of those entanglements that have keeping a person all bound and all tied up, and give the person the freedom and the victory that is possible through Him. And I believe that we are not here today by coincidence, but by divine appointment of God. You know, my daughter said that she felt by the Lord. When somebody says to me, by the Lord, I pay attention. That we should be here together and bless one another and be a blessing. Because we never know when it may be the last day on this earth that we'll be able to say, I love you. To be able to even say, you know what? I have been so messed up. I've been so hurt and devastated by you, but I forgive you. You know, I heard Mike Murdoch, a man of God, say that he's always blessed his parents. Always blessed his parents. And it kind of made me think, because sometimes we don't always bless our parents. And he said that when you do it as unto God, God will bless you. So now I've seen it in a different way, in a different perspective. So I want to be blessed. I don't want to